Hey, what's up everybody? It's Dallas with Gadget, and today I'm going to show you how to add shoulder buttons to any phone. Now this is a little different than the videos we normally do, but I think it's a really cool little DIY type project. With console class action games like Fortnite and PUBG coming out on mobile, basic touchscreen controls aren't really cutting it anymore. One of the biggest advantages console gamers have over mobile gamers is the shoulder buttons, which are really handy for actions like aiming and firing. While your thumbs are busy manning the rest of the controls like direction and point of view, your index fingers are free to use these trigger buttons on the shoulder of the controller. This type of flexibility isn't usually possible on mobile without pairing a Bluetooth controller or using one of those controller cases. But with a tiny bit of work, you can add some capacitive shoulder buttons to basically any phone. The inspiration for this little hardware mod came from Redditor Thief Sniper, who even went as far as adding some clicky mechanical buttons to the mix. But we reverse engineered this version to come up with a more foolproof mod that can be done using common materials you might even have laying around your house right now. Really, all you need is a pair of scissors, some aluminum tape, and some masking tape. You could use electrical tape instead of masking tape, and you might get better results on all metal phones. But masking tape has worked for me on all the phones I've tested this with, and it doesn't leave any sticky residue. Now the way this works is by using the aluminum tape to redirect the capacitance of one small part of your screen over to the edge of your phone. Basically, when you touch the aluminum tape on the side edge of your phone, it'll complete the circuit and behave like you touched the screen in the spot where the tape is stuck down. So before you get started with the tape though, you'll need to mark off the on-screen buttons that you want to redirect into shoulder buttons. This part will depend on the game you want to use with the shoulder buttons. The ideal buttons to use would be closer to the top side of your phone when you're in landscape mode. But a lot of games, including PUBG Mobile, let you rearrange the on-screen buttons. So you could start by putting the aim and shoot buttons up close to the edge of your screen. If you want to see how to do that in PUBG, for example, check out the full tutorial. Either way, once you've chosen the on-screen buttons that you want to turn into shoulder buttons, you'll want to mark them off somehow. You could use a piece of masking tape temporarily, but I think the best option would be to screenshot your game control layout, then open that screenshot in full screen in your Photos app. That way it'll be easy to see exactly where you need to put the aluminum tape. So to get started with the actual mod, you'll want to cut 2 strips of aluminum tape, about 1/2 inch wide and maybe 1 or 2 inches long. The most important thing to remember here is that you don't want to remove the paper backing. This will serve as an insulative layer between the aluminum tape and any other conductive parts of your phone. Next, cut just a small portion of the paper backing off of the aluminum tape, just about 1/4 inch off one end on each strip of tape. The goal here is to make the exposed portion of the tape roughly the same size as your fingertip. This will be the part that eventually gets stuck over the top of the on-screen button. Once you've done that, the next thing you'll want to do is cover any metal parts of your phone with masking tape, but only the areas where your aluminum tape may accidentally touch something conductive on the phone, so not the entire case or anything. Speaking of, if you have a plastic or rubber case on your phone, or basically anything non-conductive that's already covering your phone's conductive parts, you could skip this step. But make sure there are no gaps where the aluminum tape could accidentally touch metal parts and short circuit your shoulder button. You'll also want to avoid putting masking tape over your screen too much, but it's not conductive, so you shouldn't really worry about that aspect. Just make sure it's not obscuring your view and it's not covering the spot on your screen where you want the aluminum tape to connect. Now that everything is masked off, grab those aluminum tape strips. Go ahead and stick them down precisely over the on-screen buttons that you want to control. Remember, the rest of the backing paper is still there to ensure that it doesn't stick anywhere else or short circuit the whole thing. And then when you have those in place, wrap the aluminum tape strips around to the back of your phone. Then all that's left to do is to secure them in place. For that part, we'll use some masking tape. You could pull off some more of the paper backing on the aluminum tape, but I've found that the controls get a little finicky when you do that. Plus you can use the masking tape to control how much of the conductive aluminum tape is exposed, which should help prevent accidental touches. So it's completely your call as to how much masking tape to use on this last part, but I think it's a good idea to cover up all the aluminum tape on the back and just leave the parts on the side edge exposed. Once you've got that in place, the end result should look something like this. Honestly, it's fairly inconspicuous and other people probably won't even notice. But now, when you touch the exposed portions of the aluminum tape, even on the side edge of the phone, it'll control the button where the tape is stuck down. This works for short press and long press gestures both, and again it should work on basically any phone. In the end, you'll come away with a pair of capacitive shoulder buttons that work like a charm and make it a lot easier to control any game. And all it took was a couple of strips of tape that were probably laying around your house already. But for more tips and tricks like this, be sure to check out our website at gadgethacks.com. And as always, we'd appreciate it if you would like and comment on this video and subscribe to our channel. So we'll see you again next time, folks, but until then, happy gadget hacking.